You're listening to the Full Phoenix Rising podcast. A church as a positive disruption for good. Full Phoenix Rising, happy Monday. I don't edit these. Honestly, one of the things I'm just trying to do is just be honest and authentic. So you're probably going to hear an and you're probably going to hear a mistake. And that's just part of the podcast. 8 minutes. Here's the thought today is one of the things we're working towards is monologue versus dialogue for our church. So bear with me a second, okay? So there's a whole bunch of different elements in the church service. One of them being the sermon, one of them being worship, communion, if you do communion. Announcements is in there as well. The coffee afterwards, fellowship, small groups. This all runs through the lens of this. And the best way to describe this is that there's kind of a pyramid for learning, okay? So I'm going to run through pyramid top to bottom. And bear in mind at the very top is the lowest form of learning, okay? So pyramids, it gets smaller and pointier towards the top and bigger towards the bottom. And the first few layers of the top of the pyramid, as we start to get bigger, and the idea being the bigger it gets, the more you can kind of learn from it. The first level is lecture. So you attend a lecture, it's the lowest passivist form of learning. Okay, so passive learning lecture is your smallest possible way to learn. And the best way to indicate this is on a Sunday. A sermon at its worst is a communication, a demonstration of how much I know about a topic related to Jesus so that I might demonstrate my incredible wit and guile as I unpack and reveal through exegesis and hermeneutics some hidden mysterious thing about Jesus so you might be in awe of the way that I communicate. It's a monologue, it's passive, and doesn't invite any participation, okay? Now, as you start to build upon those layers, as we step down the pyramid, still within passive learning is reading, and then audio visual. So let me show you a video, and then demonstrations. Let me get some cup that's dirty. It's the sin within your life. Let me have a cup full of crisp, clean water, pour it into the dirty cup. That is a visual demonstration, but it still sits under the notion of passive learning, okay? Now, the last three within our learning pyramids are obviously the biggest, okay? Steadily getting bigger, okay? So now we start to move into active learning, which is discussions. Probably best taken place in the form of really good discipleship groups or connect groups or grow groups or next groups, whatever you call them within your church. But the notion is within those smaller groups where discussion takes place that you start to learn more and more. Then there's practice doing, practice teaching. And in both those, you are moving from amateur understanding to professional understanding. They're the highest forms of active learning. And so one of the things we want to do in our church is whatever we're doing, we push people through passive and into active. And the way that we figure that is that the crossover point is when it stops being a monologue through various different types of media. So we broadcast something to you, we demonstrate something to you, we speak at you. They're all monologues. It's one-way traffic. But if we can build a service around the idea of dialogue, so you are invited into participation, you are invited into discussion, you are invited into the opportunity to teach, your ability to learn jumps. So worship at its worst is a performative song to demonstrate how deep my connection personally is with Jesus and it's a song that you watch between me and Jesus, because I'm so deep and so holy in my relation. Oh, I shouldn't say holy because we're all equally holy. I'm so faithful, so deeply in love, and you can't jump in because I'm so incredible at what I do and the way I perform. It's performative. But worship at its best is invitational. It's an opportunity where together we can partner and come before God in a relationship of worship. It's dialogue, not monologue. And this applies to everything. It's no good in lecturing someone on how to share Jesus, but it's actually better to work in the last three, which are dialogues. How do we do this? How are we going to go out now and do it and make mistakes and learn from those mistakes? And then finally, because we've spent so long doing it and making those mistakes, we have a fair understanding and idea of how we can help equip other people to do the same, which then sits as part of like a discipleship model. And so what we've started to do is the conversation around moving us as a community always from monologue to dialogue. I'm not talking at you, I'm having a discussion with you. I am not singing at you, we are singing together. These announcements aren't to remind you of the things that are coming up, but to bring you into a deeper participation of all the different participatory ways we can connect, share, not just with each other, but with our communities. And when we do that well, and when we're at our best doing those things, we grow deeper in our relationship with God, because we're not being passive. We're not just being spoken out in a monologue, but we're actually invited into a place where we are dialoguing with one another. So that's my thought for this week. That's where we're going for 2024. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll be back again next week with another micro pod on a topic. Again, it's just one idea. It's not completely fleshed out, but it's really an invitation into dialogue, which is why we have a Discord channel. So jump on the Discord channel. I don't do social media particularly well, so apologies for that. All right, we'll see you again next week. Have a great day. Bye.